started and looking at the Tiv, we would take another look at the Sifra. That's not the Sifra. So the what we call this book, the Mitzoehim. If you don't mind, just to clarify, the way that I wanted to just put this for the sake of understanding is that in relationship to Ima, Abba would be the right side. So that in relationship to Abba, Ima would be the left side, and it's always going to be like that. Now, in the drawing itself, where he says there's a chiluf, that little arrow, double arrow going different ways, just asking you, like we learned that you have the switch that really took place in the middle line. That's the way I thought it was, that the ben to ma and the ma to ben switched. That's what I thought happened. But according to what we've learned here in the in the Shar Kavanos, is that the left side of Abba, which is Abadik, right, which is the left side of the right side, so to speak, moves over to the right side of Ima. And the right side of Ima moves up to the left side of Abba. So it's like a big switch, just like that. So therefore we have all right side going into Abba and all left side going into Ima. So that the left side of the right becomes the right side of the left. I like that, love that language. It is, and the right side of the left becomes the left side of the right. Yeah. That's basically that idea, and I don't know if I know that this same piece is contained in the Eitz Chaim, and it was always mysterious because he gave the background. He's giving the background on this now. So now, if we go over to, let me get this camera lined up. So if we get this like this, we find ourselves on page Reish Vav. So the reason, so he wants to bring to us, which we probably know this from elsewhere, but he says, "Vatam lama na'asa chiluf ha-mochin." What's the reason why we make a switch in the mochin? Hinei sivas hislavshus elach ha-mochin mu'arabim shelo kasidrim. So anyway, before I say that, the drawing that we saw is the status of the mochin of Abba ve'ima that are in Abba ve'ima before they come into Zeranpin. And before the switch is going to explain. So there's going to be a mixture. We know that that's what happened. Because you have to put the two together. Mix them. So since they're mixed, so he's part him and part her, and she's part her and part him. And so therefore we find like this. How is it that they live in oneness? The low misparshin, the alma, that they never switch, they never change. Because so all of this happens as a result of the yichud that takes place between Abba ve'ima. So now, all the side of Abba produces, let's just think for a second, the side of Abba, which is the left side of Abba, mixing in with that produces an Ibor. So he said that the next one, we'll do the next one. So then, according to what I've written here, he says, La'el de'ima ein ba rak shlosh osius Yaakov, that Ima has only 3 letters, and those 3 letters are called Yaakov. He's bar l'chal masha kasa b'tikunim. Now it explains what we find in the Tikkunim of the Zohar. He says, Ki Shem Yaakov hu be'ima. That name always refers to Ima. V'zechal l'shana b'tikun yud tes. So if you go into the Tikkun over there, and number yud tes, you see this. Because Shem and Maloshin Mishlosh Asvan, it says over there any name of 3 letters, Be'ima Ihu, it's in Ima. V'hinei Shem Yaakov hu b'gematria Ekya. So there's another thing, is that the Shem Yaakov, the truth of the previous part, where that seems like a very broad statement. He said the Kol Shema Mishlosh Asvon Be'ima Ihu. Okay, that's fine. We'll see what it means. V'hinei Shem Yaakov hu b'gematria Ekya. It comes to be gematria 21. It's the same thing, which is an Ima number. So he says Shuhu Gam came Be'ima, which is also in Ima. So he said V'hu Lefi Shuhu B'Bina de Abba, because it's the Bina part of Abba. Hanikra Gam came Bina, which, let's face it, is a Bina, but it's a Bina de Abba. But Parat Achra, even then specifically after they mix, HaNitzchah that we just talked about, Kashin is Lavshu Toch HaNetzach Hod Yisod, so that when they're clothed inside of the Nai, Shamarnu Ki Zu HaBina de Abba, so when we talk about the Bina de Abba, Ma'atzis Choch B'Mochin de Ima, that becomes the right side of Ima. That's what we were saying before. Because the Nimsaki Shem Yaakov hu b'Bina, and we find that the name Yaakov is in Bina, and that's going to go over to the Abba side. Now let's see where we go here in the Tivuk Avanos on number Resh Hey. He says, you're going to repeat some of this stuff and see a little more clearly. Why it is that the two Mochin on the Abbadik side, and B'tzad Imam is Arvin Kashahem Mu'ravim, and so why they're mixed, Kashahem Mu'ravim Hem Niknasim Yachad Kol Echad B'Nachim Shal Zalaso, so therefore there's an aspect of each one of them that goes into the Nani of the opposite. That they don't go just the way you see them sitting in all of the Mochin de Abba and all the Mochin de Ima. It doesn't work that way. And they have a Seder, so they turn around the Seder, switch the Seder around Miyamin to Smola Yamin. So the left of Abba goes into the right of Ima, and the right of Ima goes into the left of Abba. Having Hu Lashon Bina. Perusha Sheba Mochin de Bina Shehem Ima. So when we talk about the Mochin of Bina, which it refers to Ima, Yesh Gam L'Shate Bechem Es Mochin de Chochma Shehem Abba, so you have to mix them together. V'Chocham Hu Chochma. Let me see him. 1 second. I got to move my light a little bit, or something. I got to do something. Okay, there we are. Okay, but Haben Kulashin Bina, Upirusha Shibamochin de Bina, Shehem Ima, Yesh Gam Nashate Bechem Ezemochin de Chochma, Shehem Abba. The Chochma Hu Chochma, so the phrase taken from the Sefer Yetzirah, Shehu Abba, behind the Sheyesh the Shate, Ezemochin de Abba, Shehu Chocham, Babina, Kolom Biyachad, Ima Mochin de Ima, Shehem Bina. V'zel remez sheyesh the shate for the Arab as a mochin de bina shehi ima. So that's we have to make that combination. Yachad in the mochin de chochma shuhu abba. Yes, so he said became yesh the shate for the Arab as a mochin de chochma yachad in the mochin de bina, and that explanation as you go back and forth. Pirusha should tzrichan the chaber with the shate biyachad as a mochin de abba. You have to put them together with the Mochin of Ima. Excuse me. Is in order to put two different types of Mochin into one. And another reason, who shemekaven shehamochin netnazim u'ravim b'seder, since they come in to Zeranpin in this order, v'nimtza shemekiburim yachad, and so the fact that they're now tied together, as shnei hamochin the Abba v'Ima ko mu'uchadim yachad, they come in a complete oneness. Ad she'ein chibur godol b'zeh, and it's a very strong chibur. Then he says, so since these are now joined together in the Nai, Vehein benai the Abba Chabiyesh Mochin the Abba Mochin the Ima, Vehein benai the Ima Yesh Mochin the Ima Umuchubar Mochin the Abba. Nimsaim came Shabanai the Abba. So therefore, looking at the Nai the Abba, Muchubarim Sham Mochin the Abba the Ima. Verein Benai the Ima Muchubarim Sham Mochin the Ima the Abba. Zecher Shenina Be'id Rabba Sha'aba Ima Kachad Sharian. They're always in oneness. Behind the Sham Mochin, and what does that actually mean? He really means to say Shemochin the Abba Be'ima Sharim Kachada Benai Echad, so that you in one Nai, the Nai of Abba and Abba Ima, that you have them together. Below Misparsh and the Alma, they never go back to the other the way they were. Because each one of them now is in one Nai, and that one Nai is going into aspects of Zeranpeh. Because Shlosha Sakavim Shalonai Mukusharim B'Yachad, so all the three lines are all tied up together. They're all moving together. I guess I don't know if he means the two lines of each the three lines of each of them. So if you call Iruvim, all of their mixture shows Shnech Mochin the Abba Ve'ima Naasa the Naasa. So all this is all tied together. Behind the Shnech Mochin the Abba Ve'ima Nisargo Ayedech Bezubug, and how and actually does it happen? Is that there takes place a Yichud the Abba Ve'ima. So those are listening to Shema the Kriya Shema, then you say the Kriya Shema causes a Yichud and Abba Ve'ima. That Abba Ve'ima caused this mixture to take place, and then the Mochin come into Zeranpeh in this form. Now there's also Ima is gestating. This Arba B'Shnecha Mochin the Abba Ve'ima, you also have that mixture taking place there too. So now they all come in to their respective Nais and go into Zeranpeh. The four Mochin that you find in the Chochmah of Ima came Rak Shlosh Osil Shel Shem Yaakov Bezot. So he said once again, which we said before, is that the Chochmah on the side of Ima is actually has three letters from Abba, but they actually come out to the gematria of 21. So he says, Shem Yaakov, so that's the name, is one of the this is Shem Yaakov Ba'arba Mochin Sheyesh B'Chochma De'ima. So it's that name finds itself in the Mochin of Abba Be'ima, or Sheyesh B'Chochma De'ima, on the Ima side of Abba side of Ima. Al Shem Yaakov Shehu Ba'arba Mochin. This is the name Aku, which is one of the four Mochin, the Chachma, the B'tzad Mochin, the Ima, that come over to be in the side of the Mochin, the Ima. Shem Yaakov Kuka Cheshbon and Mizbar Shem Akia. So it's the Ima Dika Cheshbon. Shagam Shem Akia, Shehu B'Gematria Yaakov. Also, that goes the other way. It finds its way over to the other side. Who B'Mochin, the Ima. Miluye Yaakov. So the Miluyim that we've talked about in Yaakov, they come in the beginning, Ba'arba Mochin, Sheyesh B'Bina the Abba, originally one part of they're part of the four Mochin that you find in the Bina of Abba. Bina the Abba, Nikros Gam came Bina, let's face it, whether you like it or not, it's still a Bina. But it's an Abbadika Bina. B'chein Ki Nikros Ima, so therefore it's also called, it's the Ima part of Abba. That's what the Zohar says. Because Shema B'Shlosh Aslam Hu B'Ima, any name that has three letters to it, it refers to Ima. But also Al Shem Yaakov, so really what he's talking about is this three-letter name Yaakov, Shehu B'Bina, the Abba, which is the left side, the far left side of Abba, Hanikras Gam Ima, which is actually also Ima, as we said, again, it's the Ima of Abba. The Lashon Zohar Meduyak, so we have this is very specific. V'yosu Duhu Koi Al HaMochin Shel Achar Zaman Eruv. So that phrase that the mixture is the language of the mixture is after the pillow. Shazecha Eruv Koya Be'ez Shal Mochin the Abba Be'ima Nislavshu B'nai the Abba Be'ima. So he says that the mixture takes place where the Mochin, the Abba Ve'ima, is Lavshu B'nai, the Abba Ve'ima, the Mochin of each side, therefore, is Mislavish in the respective nine. Because there you see that they're mixed. So he says the four mochin that are in the bina, so it's going like over to the far left of the drawing. He says that, once again, I get a problem here. Okay, so he said, when they go into the nine, Oz, Eloha Arba Miloyim Yaakov Shehem Bebina the Abba, which were found in the Bina of Abba, Nek Nasim, but Netzoch the Ima, they go into the right side of Ima. Benaasim Arba B'Mochin the Chochma the Zad the Mitzad Ima, so now they're going to go into the right side and they're going to make the Chochma of the Abba that's coming from the Nai of Ima. So then he says like this, Benimsa the Fisa, the Shlosh Osius Yaakov, Heim Bebina, Shehi Ima, and they wind up in the Chochma of Ima. That's the side that comes from Abba, goes into Ima. I spelled that out. So now, let's see, we have a couple of minutes. Let's look over here on the next one. Tam Lama Ein B'Mochin de Ima Rak Shlosh Osius. Why should it be that it only has three letters? So in the, I think it's in Birchos Kohanim, they talk about this. I forgot what I was going to say. Let's go on and let's read the top. Is it b'yesh tam b'zen? There's a reason for this. The you should know it because it's known like this. Shesod arba osios havaya nirmazes ba'aba v'ima v'zun. The four letter name Yud Kei Vav Kei really refers to the yichud, the ultimate yichud between the opposites. That is the male female of Abba and the male female of Ima, and also Zun. So v'lechein Abba kolos kulam. So therefore Abba that has within itself all of them, because it's the beginning of everything. That's where the tipa comes from. Yesh bo kol arba osia. So therefore it's going to have all the four letters because everything is going to develop out from Abba. Aval Ima. So therefore, Ima, though, she has within herself only the three that are below her. So I don't know what the three is that she said below her. I'd like to find out what that meant. But there's another question here. According to that, why should it be Yaakov? Below Shlosh Osios Yaakov. So he's a kabar to Rathdi Zam, but Makomo, he says, I already answered that somewhere else. Okay, I don't know, recall that, but that's what he said. Reish Kaftas on the previous page. Okay, he says, let me see if I can get that line better. Have a good time with this line. Okay, well, let's try it. Reish Kaftas. It says, "V'chatam shlosh osios Yaakov." The reason why the three letters Yaakov, Heim be'ima, who he says what? Ba'arba osios avaya near mazim partzufi atzilus. There's a reference to all of the partzufim of Batzilus. Who ba'ofen zeh. The Yud is Abba, the K is Rishona, is Ima, the Vav before after that is their Anpen, and the K after that is Achrona. He Malchus. So wherever it is, in that case, its madrega is more panimi or higher than you would say of what follows it. So therefore, it has all the madregas that are underneath it. So it has, it's the yud of the Havaya. Shehu os rishonu shal Havaya. Oz yesh lo as kol Havaya b'shleimus, that it has the entire Havaya complete. Ve'ima shehi merumaza b'hei rishonu, but she's already missing. I mean, she's a reference to the next three letters. Yesh lo gam osius vav and k. She has with her the other letters. So he sha'acher k rishonu de Havaya. So in other words, each one of them holds whatever's below it, within it. V'chazash ramas b'vav shal Havaya, who is the vav. Yesh below gam es a hey achron, it has within it that final hey. Malchus yesh lo rak es a hey achron of the body only has that, so it's only a hey. So that's how he says that's how they work. Boven she'aba yesh lo yud ke vav ke, ima yesh lo ke vav ke, and which is accurate, and za yesh lo vav ke, and Malchus yesh lo rak hey. So let's see what the next thing is. So it says therefore. L'chein Abba Rav Shuhu Os Yud Vav Daled Abba, which really represents those three letters. Harishona. I just keep getting ants in my book. I really don't know how this is happening, but it's the truth. Well, keep going on. So let me go back. So where was I? Let's go back up to the L'chein Abba Shuhu Os Yud Vav Daled Rishona Shalabayim. Memelu hu kolo gam as havai shalema can emalamala. So these say some memela, since it's the beginning, it has all of them. Shegevin shuhu rambos baos yud. It's a reference to the yud. Yesh lo as kol ha'arba osios savai. The next one says aval ima. Shuna muzach baos hey rishonu the havai. She's really a reference to the first hey. V'chein ein lo elam os hey rishonu the havai. Vihi, therefore, kolelis gam itself, herself, the gam es osius vavke the Ravayim. V'chein ein bara be'ima ela rak shlosh osius the Ravayim. That's what he wants to say. Is he said this is the concept of what its constituent parts are. It's only three. Rak shlosh osius the Ravayim she'em osius ke vavke. V'zecha b'tam shekasa b'dikunim, and this is the reason why the Dikunim writes the kol shema the Shema. Shlosh asvon be'ima ihu. That's so it's anything that's three letters got to be an ima. But be'ima chalarak shlosh osius shall. Now he writes it. I think he shall havaya. Oh, that's what he means to say. He says it only has the three letters of the havaya. It doesn't have four. V'afal pi shall the fi pirush zen. Now we have this explanation. Shekevin she'ima remuza ba'os hey a rishayna. V'chein yesh lo shlosh osius oz yesh al haksha. So this the question is, why is it the names the letters that we said? The name ma amra b'zohar and the emar. So why is it that it says in the Zohar we're talking about here, lamala shall the ima yesh as a shlosh osius rishona the Ravavash em Yaakov? Well, that we say specifically that's her name. That's the name there. She has those three letters. But the way that we work this out, so you have to start with the hey. It's just like you did with Abba. As he yos la shlosh osius, which would be Haba. Okay, so he said ma hosivo the ima as a yud a rishonu the Ravaya. So how did that work? V'notlo b'menach as a hey achrona, and they take from and v'notlo b'meno, and they take from her as a hey achrona. So in other words, you slid it off to the right, and why don't you slide it why don't you leave it like you said? That was in this yashiv kavar. Now this has already been answered. I don't recall it. Shatam sheyesh the ima shlosh osius Yaakov daika, below shlosh osius Hava. Let's see where who mishum shlosh osius Yaakov came olim begematria ekid. B'shem Ekia hu be'ima. Masha ein ken shlosh osius k vav k. She'ein bechem remez the ima, that have no remez the ima. O mishum kach, for this reason, agam sheyesh the ima shlosh osius k vav k. Hem mischalpim laosius Yaakov. Again, nonetheless, that they switch into Yaakov. Shebezech b'yesh remez the Ekia shehu be'ima. Now, the answer doesn't sit really square inside of me, but that's the answer that he gets. Okay, so I really don't know. You knocked out the sequence, and the answer is the reason why we knock out the sequence is because we want a sequence that gives us a gematria of 21. He says not we want. He says the answer Baruch Hu, that the matzah wants that. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so we'll stop here on this. We still have a few more minutes, and we'll start looking at the